There's a hidden trap buried in Labor's proposed superannuation tax. And if you're a retiree, a superannuated Aussie, or just someone trying to secure a future for your family, you need to hear this. Now, the Albanese government is pushing ahead with a new tax on unrealised capital gains. And that means you'll be taxed not just on money you've earned, but on a value that hasn't even materialised yet, and value that could vanish tomorrow. Think about that for a second. But particularly, I want to talk about this tax that's going to hit self-managed super funds with balances over $3 million. And it doesn't adjust for inflation. Now, Miles Hampton, former chairman of the Forestry, Tasmania and My State Bank, put it simply, this tax punishes recovery. If your investments went down and are only just starting to come back up, you'll now be taxed on that recovery. That sounds wild, but that's the way it's written, even if you're still underwater. And let's be clear, a big reason Labor is doing this is to cover its budget shortfall. They're expecting to try and call back $40 billion over the next decade. And rather than run a more efficient government, maybe even reduce the size of our fat and bloated bureaucracy, they're just thinking of new ways to screw you. And nothing beats screwing the very people they are supposed to work for than by taxing you more and more. It is criminal, but I'll also say this, you get what you voted for. The country by default and preferential voting and a dislike for the way that Peter Dutton looked, elected a failed government to return and to keep failing. A Labor government that will spend, which will cause inflation, which results in higher interest rates, and finally means that seriously, we will be struggling worse than ever to pay our bills, let alone plan for a future. And if you're lucky enough to have had, in the way of businesses, assets or family trust, make no mistake that once this administrative structure is set up, it will be utilised to come after unrealised gains on those structures as well. It will not stop at superannuation. And yes, Albanese did promise in 22 that there'd be no changes to super tax treatment, but that was before the election. Now that promise has been thrown out, just like the working class Australians that he's supposed to represent. The Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, the king of spin, shrugs it off as a modest change, but it's not modest when it affects as many as 1.8 million Australians over their lifetime. Now, simply put, this tax change makes it incredibly hard for anyone to build wealth or security through super. It effectively kills the incentive to invest. Labor says that people don't need more than $3 million in super. That's their justification. But here's the catch. They trap that money in a system you're not allowed to exit from. You can't pull the money out, you can't move it, you're just stuck. So if they believe you have too much, why not let us withdraw the excess? And the answer is because it's not about fairness, it's about control. Now, Meg Heffron, a well-known expert in superannuation, said it best. This tax is nasty. People will be taxed on recovering value, not real gains. Losses made before the tax starts won't carry forward. And worse, if your asset value drops again after you've paid the tax, you won't get the tax back. Now, the Reserve Bank also is warning that billions now could be pulled out of super funds this year to avoid the tax. And that means less investment, fewer returns, and more instability. And this is exactly why people are turning to the freedom parties or minority parties, not out of anger or division or being a bigot or being racist or extremism, but because we want a future that's secure, sensible, and free from this kind of economic sleight of hand. So if you're a mum, a dad, a grandparent, or to be fair, someone who's just worked extremely hard and taken big risks to secure a future through investments and build a retirement to enjoy, this actually should infuriate you. They're taxing money that doesn't even exist yet. They're locking you into a structure you can't exit. They're breaking promises and calling it modest. And the truth is, it'll never stop at $3 million. The Greens want it dropped to $2 million. And let's be honest, this is actually what Labor wants as well. They'll pretend to want it to be over $3 million, and then they'll make the Greens say, we want it to be $2 million, and Labor will say, okay, and Greens will take the rap. And no one knows what happened, but the result is extremely bad tax policy that punishes people who have worked to secure their own future, not reliant on any form of pension. But I guarantee you it won't stay at $3 million or $2 million. So what next? $1 million, $500,000. Let me save you the speculation. If you have super, then you will be affected eventually. And maybe you've had the thought, why would they do this to themselves? Aren't they going to have super and unrealised gains as well? Well, prepare to be infuriated even more. Many long-serving politicians, judges and senior public servants are covered under the defined benefit superannuation schemes, they're known as the PCSS. Now, these schemes guarantee a pension for life, calculated based on salary and years of service, not tied to the performance of investments like most self-managed funds that we have. They're not easily impacted by unrealised capital gains, and they don't operate in the same market-based structure. And often they have favourable tax treatments, and in some cases, the earnings inside the funds may not be taxed at all, the same way they are taxed on self-managed super funds. This creates a horrible situation where politicians can vote on taxing your super while they are largely immune from the same exposure. Simply put, the pollies are saying rules for thee and not for me. Here's the truth. No politician will ever say out loud. These taxes aren't about fairness. They're about funding a bloated system, a government machine that's addicted to spending, obsessed with growth in size but not results. And when they run out of ways to pay for it, they come for your savings. They come for the people who've been responsible, who've invested, who've saved, who've planned for the future. They punish the productive to feed the political class. And while they take more from you, Australia sits on some of the most valuable resources in the world. Lithium, coal, iron ore, uranium, natural gas. The very things that other nations fight wars over. We're literally sitting on a gold mine and we're broke because we've got governments who would rather tax retirees than take real control over our national assets. We export raw material and import finished goods. We subsidise foreign energy while strangling our own, and we let global corporations extract billions and then punish local Australians for trying to build something for their families. Labor claims they are the party for the working class, yet they crush small and medium businesses that employ those very working class people. Liberals claim to be about lower taxes, but they did nothing in this election to educate people on what could happen. Nowhere near enough. And the minor parties are hamstrung by rules and funding limitations to ensure the two majors keep the global agenda moving. Now, you can call it conspiracy, but there's nothing about the policies that Australia is bringing in that is contrary to the globalist agenda widely discussed. So what now? Well, I, for one, am not disappointed in the election from the standpoint that I believe the Liberal Party had gone so far from its conservative base, example, someone like me, that I'm glad they were decimated, because it means now either that party will need to rebuild, rebrand, get aligned with what it used to be, or they'll die. Either way, that's better than us voting for a pretend Conservative Party. Now, we are probably 10 years behind America in all things, including the dangerous and progressive ultra-woke ideas and examples that are going to be coming down the line, but also 10 years behind the people taking back their country and installing a strong people-first, Australia-first leader like they have in the States, like Donald Trump. So as I've said, now is the time to join a party. Get involved. It's not the end, it's actually the beginning. But make no mistake, doing nothing is what they want. Hey, if you like what we're doing here at the channel, the best thing you can do to help us is simply subscribe. Tell a friend, share it, tag someone, but by subscribing, it helps our channel grow and helps this message get out. Until next time, thanks for watching.